Time. It is the ultimate currency. For the average person, time is something to be spent. But for the handful of individuals who control the global economy, time is something that must be conquered. In 2025, the landscape of business travel has evolved far beyond first-class cabins and priority boarding. For the titans of industry, the men and women who move markets with a single signature, waiting in a security line or relying on commercial airline schedules is not just an inconvenience, it's a massive strategic liability. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking an exclusive deep dive into the clouds, exploring the ultimate tools of efficiency used by the world's richest CEOs. These aren't merely flying hotels, they're airborne command centers, marvels of modern engineering, and sanctuaries of privacy at 40,000 feet. From Elon Musk's fleet of Gulfstreams to the surprising choices of Warren Buffett, we're peeling back the curtain on the wings of wealth. Stay with us until the end because we'll reveal which billionaire actually owns two identical jets as an insurance policy against delays. Let's begin. Elon Musk, the time optimizer. Managing an empire that spans electric vehicles with Tesla, space exploration with SpaceX, and social media with X requires a schedule that defies physics. For years, Musk has been known for his impressive fleet of private aircraft, and as we move through 2025, his collection continues to evolve. Musk ordered a Gulfstream G700 in 2022, with delivery expected in 2025, though his primary aircraft remains the legendary Gulfstream G650ER, registered as November 628 Tango Sierra. The G650ER, acquired in 2016, costs between $66.5 million and $78 million and represents one of the most capable business jets ever built. Let's talk about why this matters. The G650ER can fly 7,500 nautical miles non-stop. That's roughly 8,600 regular miles. This means Musk can fly from Austin, Texas, directly to Tokyo, Tel Aviv, or anywhere in Europe without stopping for fuel. In the world of high-stakes business, a fuel stop is a delay, and delays are unacceptable. The aircraft cruises at Mach 0.925, just under the speed of sound. For a CEO who famously calculates his day in 5-minute blocks, saving an hour on a transatlantic flight accumulates into days of saved time over a year. In 2018, Musk logged over 150,000 miles on this aircraft. That's more than 6 times around the Earth. While Musk famously claims not to own a physical home, his jet serves as his mobile office and bedroom. It's a tool, purely designed to collapse time and space, allowing him to oversee a rocket launch in Florida and a factory opening in Berlin within the same 24-hour cycle. Recent reports reveal fascinating details about Musk's travel preferences. He prefers the cabin temperature at a cool 65 degrees, dim lighting, and absolute quiet. Even the air vents must be silenced. His crew is instructed not to initiate conversation unless he speaks first. Every detail is optimized for one thing: productivity during flight. The upcoming G700 will feature cutting-edge amenities with a range of 7,750 nautical miles and speeds up to Mach 0.935, potentially replacing his older jets and becoming the flagship of his fleet. Jeff Bezos, the redundancy strategist. The founder of Amazon and Blue Origin approaches aviation with the same methodical precision he applied to building the world's most reliable logistics network. Bezos has long been a devotee of the Gulfstream G650ER, and even in 2025, despite newer models entering the market, he remains loyal to this proven aircraft. But here's what most people don't know. Bezos actually owns two identical G650ERs. This isn't extravagance, it's strategic redundancy. In the world of Amazon Web Services, servers have backups to ensure zero downtime. Bezos applies the same logic to his travel. If one jet requires maintenance or has a technical issue, the schedule of one of the world's most powerful men doesn't pause. He simply boards the second aircraft. It's the ultimate insurance policy against delay, and it speaks volumes about how billionaires think about risk management. The G650ER, costing roughly $65 to $70 million per aircraft, holds the record for the farthest, fastest flight in business aviation history. But for Bezos, the true value lies in a technical detail that most people overlook: cabin pressurization. When you fly commercially, the cabin pressure makes you feel like you're standing on a mountain at 8,000 feet elevation. That reduced oxygen affects your body. You get tired, dehydrated, and mentally foggy. In Bezos's G650ER, the cabin is pressurized to feel like just 3,000 to 4,000 feet. This might sound like a minor technical specification, but the impact on the human body is profound. It means that when Bezos lands after a 12-hour flight to London or Dubai, his blood remains properly oxygenated, he feels minimal jet lag, and he's mentally sharp, ready to step into a high-pressure boardroom immediately. For a man in his 60s who needs to perform at peak mental capacity during back-to-back international negotiations, this cabin pressure advantage is worth every penny of that $65 million price tag.
Warren Buffett, from indefensible to indispensable. For those of you in the 60-plus demographic watching this, you likely know Warren Buffett as the frugal oracle of Omaha who still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. For years, Buffett was openly critical of corporate executives who spent shareholder money on private jets. In the 1980s, when Berkshire Hathaway acquired its first corporate jet, Buffett was so uncomfortable with the expense that he named it the indefensible. He couldn't justify the cost to his shareholders. But as Berkshire Hathaway grew into a $900 billion conglomerate, something changed. Buffett realized a crucial truth: his time was worth more than the cost of the fuel. He eventually renamed that same jet the Indispensable. Today, at 94 years old, Buffett continues to manage one of the world's largest companies, and private aviation plays a crucial role. He typically flies in mid to large cabin jets like the Bombardier Challenger 650, though he has access to much larger aircraft when needed. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. In 1998, Berkshire Hathaway acquired NetJets, the world's largest private jet operator. NetJets pioneered the fractional ownership model. Instead of buying an entire $50 million jet, you buy a share of one. This gives you guaranteed access to a fleet of hundreds of jets, from small Citations to massive Bombardiers, without the headache of managing crews, maintenance, or insurance. NetJets serves everyone from Fortune 500 CEOs to professional athletes to wealthy retirees who want reliable private travel without the complexity of aircraft ownership. And Warren Buffett is their best advertisement. For Buffett, it's never been about ego or luxury. It's about the mathematics. The numbers clearly show that private aviation maximizes his efficiency, allowing him to visit Berkshire's dozens of subsidiary companies, attend board meetings across the country, and return home to Omaha, all without wasting days in airports. It's a perfect example of how a frugal mindset can still embrace expensive tools when they're genuinely cost-effective. Bill Gates, the sustainability paradox. Bill Gates presents one of the most fascinating contradictions in modern private aviation. He's one of the world's most vocal advocates for climate action, investing billions in green technology and sustainable energy. Yet he's also a prolific user of private jets. And this apparent paradox has sparked considerable debate. Gates typically utilizes aircraft from the Bombardier Global Express family, specifically the BD700 Global Express and its variants. These are large, long-range jets capable of flying 6,000 to 7,000 nautical miles non-stop, connecting any two major cities on Earth. In 2025, Gates has become a leading voice in the push for sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF. Modern jets like the Bombardier Global 8000 are designed to run on 100% sustainable aviation fuel, which can reduce carbon emissions by up to 80% compared to traditional jet fuel. For Gates, the jet is what he calls a time machine that enables his global philanthropy work. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he's working on projects in over 130 countries, from malaria prevention in Africa to sanitation infrastructure in India to agricultural innovation in South America. The commercial airline infrastructure simply cannot support his itinerary. In a typical week, Gates might visit a vaccine distribution center in rural Kenya, meet with government ministers in Brussels, attend a climate summit in Singapore, and return to Seattle for foundation board meetings. Accomplishing this on commercial flights would be physically impossible. Gates argues that his investment in green technologies, solar panels, advanced nuclear reactors, sustainable aviation fuel, and carbon capture systems, facilitated by his ability to travel efficiently, outweighs the carbon cost of his private flights. He's essentially betting that the innovations he helps fund will offset his personal emissions many times over. It's a controversial stance. Critics point out that no amount of philanthropy justifies the carbon footprint of private aviation. Supporters argue that if anyone's private jet use can be justified, it's someone actively working to solve climate change on a global scale. What's undeniable is that Gates walks a careful line, and he's acutely aware of the optics. He frequently addresses this contradiction in interviews, acknowledging that it's uncomfortable but necessary for the scope of work he's trying to accomplish.
Larry Ellison, the co-founder of Oracle Corporation, brings a unique perspective to private aviation. He's not just a passenger, he's a licensed pilot and genuine aviation enthusiast. Ellison famously owned a decommissioned Russian MiG-29 fighter jet. Yes, an actual military fighter aircraft. While he obviously doesn't fly that to board meetings, it demonstrates his deep passion for aviation performance and engineering. For business travel, Ellison has long favored the Gulfstream G650, one of the fastest and longest-range business jets available. But his connection to aviation goes even deeper because of his ownership of 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai. When you own an entire island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, private aviation isn't a luxury, it's a logistical necessity. Lanai is about 2,400 miles from Silicon Valley, roughly a 5-hour flight. For Ellison to run a global technology company worth hundreds of billions of dollars while living on a remote Hawaiian island requires an aircraft capable of reliable long-range performance. The Gulfstream G650 makes this lifestyle possible. It can fly non-stop from Lanai to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Tokyo, or Sydney. Without this capability, Ellison's Pacific Island lifestyle would be functionally impossible while maintaining his corporate responsibilities. What's interesting about Ellison is that his choice of aircraft is driven by a pilot's appreciation for performance rather than just comfort or status. He understands the engineering, respects the capabilities, and makes decisions based on technical specifications rather than brand prestige. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta CEO, represents the younger generation of tech billionaires, and his approach to private aviation reflects modern concerns about privacy and security. Zuckerberg owns a Gulfstream G650, similar to many of his tech peers. However, what sets his situation apart is the extraordinary security arrangements surrounding his travel. Meta's board of directors actually requires Zuckerberg to use private aircraft for all travel, considering it a security necessity rather than a perk. Given Meta's global reach, with over 3 billion users across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and the controversial nature of social media platforms, Zuckerberg faces genuine security concerns that commercial travel can't adequately address.
The G650 provides not just transportation, but a controlled, secure environment. Every aspect of the flight is vetted, from the crew to the catering to the ground handling at each airport. For someone managing one of the world's most influential technology platforms, this level of security isn't optional. Zuckerberg's aircraft usage has been subject to intense public scrutiny, particularly regarding flight tracking. Like Musk, he's dealt with individuals tracking his flights using publicly available ADS-B data. This has sparked important conversations about privacy, public interest, and the responsibilities of public figures. The future, supersonic redux. As we look toward 2026 and beyond, the next frontier in billionaire aviation is supersonic travel. The dream of cutting flight times in half, not through incremental improvements, but through breaking the sound barrier, is closer to reality than most people realize. Boom Supersonic's aircraft Overture is leading this charge. While still in development, the Overture promises to cruise at Mach 1.7, more than 1.5 times the speed of sound. This would cut transatlantic crossing times from 7 hours to 3.5 hours. New York to London before lunch, Los Angeles to Tokyo over breakfast. For the CEOs we've discussed today, Musk, Bezos, Gates, Ellison, time is the only constraint money can't completely overcome. A supersonic business jet would be the ultimate acquisition, turning a transatlantic trip into a morning commute. Several factors are converging to make this possible: advances in engine technology, new materials that handle supersonic stress, and innovative designs that minimize the sonic boom, the major regulatory barrier that killed the Concorde program. United Airlines has already placed orders for Boom's Overture, with deliveries planned for the late 2020s. While these will initially serve commercial routes, private VIP variants are inevitable, and when they arrive, expect the world's wealthiest individuals to be first in line. We're on the cusp of a new golden age of speed, where the principles that made Concorde legendary are being reimagined for the private sector with 21st century technology and sustainability in mind.
As we conclude this journey through the skies, it's important to reflect on what these aircraft truly represent. Critics rightfully point to the immense cost and environmental impact. The carbon footprint of a single private jet flight can equal what an average person generates in an entire year. These are valid and urgent concerns that the aviation industry must address. But from a purely business perspective, these jets provide three things that money usually cannot buy: safety, privacy, and time. In our increasingly connected but unstable world, the ability to move securely, work privately in the air, and be home with family the same night is invaluable. These aircraft allow CEOs to extend their careers well into their 70s and 80s, maintaining a pace of life that would be impossible relying on commercial aviation. As aviation technology advances in 2025, these jets are becoming faster, safer, and gradually more efficient. Whether it's the raw speed and range of Musk's Gulfstream's G700, the redundancy of Bezos's twin G650 ERs, the practical wisdom of Buffett's NetJets approach, or the sustainability focus of Gates, each strategy reflects a different philosophy about time, responsibility, and leadership. For those of us watching from the ground, these aircraft offer a glimpse into how the world's most powerful individuals think about efficiency, risk, and the value of time itself. If you had the resources, which approach would you choose? The speed of the Gulfstream G700? The redundancy of owning two identical jets? The flexibility of the NetJet's fractional model? Or would you wait for the supersonic future? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on both the engineering brilliance and the ethical questions surrounding private aviation at this level. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the world of billionaire travel. If you enjoyed this analysis of wealth, technology, and the machinery that powers the modern world, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have many more stories exploring the intersection of innovation, luxury, and global leadership. Until next time, keep looking up and keep asking questions.